KyAlea Monma. She is a visionary strategist and brand architect and the founder of HOKU Design Group. She's got over 20 years of experience in branding, a master's degree in media design, and a background in leading global teams. And now she helps founders build bold, magnetic brands rooted in their brand DNA. Through her master brand framework, KyAlea empowers service-based businesses to scale with clarity, influence, and unstoppable momentum, turning ambition into action and action into legacy. KyAlea is also one of my star students inside the No BS Agency Mastery Program. She came in with firing on all cylinders. And let me tell you, the action that she's taken, the way that she's shown up for our community, for her colleagues, and for herself and her business is truly inspiring. I'm really excited for her to share her story. So without further ado, here's my chat with KyAlea. Hello, KyAlea. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello, I'm so excited to have you here. I'm so excited to talk about your journey and your story and celebrate you. But let's start by going back a little bit. Why don't you tell us a bit about when you started your business, what were you hoping to achieve and what did you end up experiencing kind of before we started working together?
Okay, so great question. So actually, this March, it'll be 10 years since I decided to leave the corporate world. So I spent about 10 years in corporate global tech marketing and branding, working for tech companies and running global teams. And it got to a point where I was working 80 plus hours a week and I was engaged for 3 years. And my husband was wondering if I was going to marry him or stay married to my business, my career. So I made a shift and launched myself into consulting. And it was a fun first year, but I got lots of mixed advice. And long story short, I was on my own for a year and then I got pregnant and I had to shut my business down because I got really sick and my son came 6 weeks early. It was a whole thing. So after that, I kind of went from corporate global executive to awesome entrepreneur to failing as a mom because I couldn't hold my son for 3 days. So I ended up having to rebuild my own brand after that. I ended up working for a few companies for a short period of time, but then ultimately decided I really want to go back to helping small businesses in doing their branding and marketing and just take all of that global experience I have to really help elevate the voices of these small business founders who are so passionate with so much integrity. And so coming back into it this round, I had kind of started the way I did before. Like I got some retainers, I had some clients. I was just exhausted. So I saw your Instagram feed, or maybe it was on Facebook, it was one of the two. And it was like, ditch the retainers, how to make, 30K months without hiring. And I was like, sign me up. What is this? I'm like, this is what I believed was possible, but I just didn't know the formula to really make that happen. So that's what led me to you ultimately. I was like, she knows the way, she's done it, and everything you said spoke to me. And this is the longest program I've ever committed to, by the way. And I'm, 2 years in and just so happy to be here. It's been such an incredible experience. And I adore you. You're so grounded and humble and such a just amazing person. So thank you
Oh
for
my gosh.
creating this
Thank you. Thank
for
you,
people like
KyAlea.
me.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much for that, for sharing that. It sounds like you, well, first of all, what a tumultuous journey. It sounds like you were able to build your business back up and then I think a lot of people get into that position. It's like, were they all retainers or what kind of projects were you doing that made you kind of feel overworked again?
Yeah, I ended up picking up, well, it was like two rebrands that became retainers. It was like, oh, now I need this, now I need that. And, the old version of how I used to run my business was like, yes, be the resource for all the things. But it got to a point where I'm like, this just isn't right. This doesn't feel right. I'm becoming a virtual assistant and this is not worth my time. And then, it was just this weird, really imbalance. So, again, that's when your message really spoke to me. And once I got into the program, I was like, this makes so much sense because I mean, the magic of being able to focus on one project at a time and to capitalize on the quality, which then just naturally attracts, more money because you're able to invest more and deliver more. I mean, it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant, and it absolutely works.
It works. I know. Some
It
people
works.
are skeptical. I mean, it's so funny. You're like, I was so in. Were you hesitant at all? Like, were there anything about it where you're like, that's not gonna work? Like, that seems crazy.
Before I talked to Amanda, once I talked to her, it was so cool because she really listened to me and she's like, this isn't for everyone. So she really got to know my business to make sure that I was the type of person and with the type of business and with the type of vision that would fit with this program. And after that, I mean, she just made me feel so confident that I was heading in the right direction. And then as soon as I was in, I was like, this is a new feeling of belonging.
That's awesome. Well, and so, I mean, I love it because you've always been such an all in person that I've known. And that's important when you're building a
Yeah,
business and you're an entrepreneur. I mean, you got to be all in so you can really give, the strategies the power they need to succeed, right?
absolutely.
Can't
Yeah,
dip your toe on something and then go, oh, let's see if this works. It's like, make it work.
yeah.
What are some surprising things you feel like you've learned over the course of this program? Anything surprise you?
Yeah, actually, well, I want to say the most valuable thing that I feel like I've really gotten out of this was reflecting on my strengths, my past work experience, and my lived experiences, and bringing all that together. You really helped guide me to figure out what my big idea was, what my unique perspective is on this industry. And when you're surrounded in a community like yours where we're all talented brand strategists, designers. It was such an interesting experience to all of a sudden not be in competition, but being inspired and encouraged, and then say, okay, this is the ultimate challenge to really define like what is it that's different and how do I approach this? And how each of us have this unique way of approaching rebrands and our clients. And that really is what we needed to gain clarity on to align with and attract the right people that were meant to work with us. And so I didn't see that, when I was walking into this thinking like I'm going to spend a lot of time writing and figuring out what that is. But ultimately, that was the catalyst for the success I have now was once I really figured out what that was and how it all ties together. I mean, it's been a game changer. I have a solid foundation now. I know exactly what my authority is in each relationship when I meet new people. I know how to speak about myself. I know how I can help them, who I can help and who I want to redirect somewhere else.
Yeah, you're really owning your space and your niche and your authority. I love that you said that because I find that fascinating too, right? We're surrounded by everyone's doing at its core the same
The same
exact
thing.
thing.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yet it doesn't feel like there's any competition
Yeah.
because everybody is really learning how to own their thing. Once they stop
Mhm.
giving the generic, because like I mean, I'm sure you've noticed, like a lot of people do come in saying kind of the same thing, but then
Yeah,
we kind of,
yeah.
okay, then we help them get out of that. And it's like, if you say that, now you get to actually see how generic it is because
Yeah.
you can look at how everybody else, and I would assume, I mean, the longer you're in it, the more you see people come in
Yes.
and say the thing. You're like,
Yeah, yeah.
seen that before. But that's not where we want to go. We want to go to a place where we're unique. I am sure our listeners are like waiting with bated breath for you to share what your what your big idea is. So you want to give us the pitch?
Yeah, sure. Well, and the pitch is still, it's an evolution,
Oh,
right?
always.
I swear I'm always like
Yeah.
updating it. But one of the big things for me is during this process, I really reflected on what it was that I did that made my past clients successful, my past positions and roles within these companies successful. And it was about the foundation of it being rooted in your truth, in who you are as a person. So everything from the leaders that I respected the most and how they showed up authentically. They really believed in what they were standing for, and that made us believe in them. And then when I went on to build teams, being able to align with their core values to unite them under one mission, that was how I built really loyal, dedicated teams because they felt this connection, this sense of belonging to the mission and how they could serve a valuable purpose to play a role in it. So, taking all that then to founders and entrepreneurs, I mean, I heard somebody say, and I can't remember who it was, they said that entrepreneurship is the ultimate self development tool.
I think that was my coach on this podcast.
Oh,
We call it
no.
the personal growth gym.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So working with founders, I realized that, and this happened to me early on too, is we're trying to establish our business and find our direction. And often a lot of times if you're just looking at it from a marketing place, you're looking at, okay, let's find the audience. And then you kind of map your way backwards. But instead, if you start with who you are, what you're bringing to the table, what you stand for, what you stand against, what do you believe in, that is actually what's ultimately going to align you with who you're meant to serve, right? So I came up with the brand DNA blueprint where when I'm doing the LP, I'm talking to them. I want to know their entire story. I want to know what led them to where they are so I can honor the journey that got them here and then talk about the vision that they want to reach. Then I can align them with their vision, with their future. And that's then where I can build them a master brand framework that builds upon the brand DNA foundation. Because in the world right now, you want something that's unshakable and you need to connect that within yourself because markets will change, audiences will change, channels will change. Like everything around us can be undone, rebuilt, or disappear, come back, right? So, to anchor it within yourself, within your core beliefs and your core values, it makes a more unshakable foundation. So, the framework then is being able to package and simplify what you bring to the table and realizing that it's all the same thing depending on who you're talking to and creating a customer journey so that no matter where your audience meets you, you have a path for them and you can show them that path and provide psychological safety in a process that leads them to ultimate results. It's aligned with what they want to achieve. So, my headline on my website right now is Build a Brand as Magnetic as You Are in Person. So, it's about honoring who you are and allowing that to really come to the forefront and be expressed through your brand. Your brand is an expression of that, not this superficial entity that has nothing to do with us. It's just a business, but it's actually connecting yourself to it in a very authentic, genuine way that's going to keep you more committed to accomplishing your goals and give you a grounding, a litmus test to come back to your North Star. Your North Star is what's going to guide you through things and help you make decisions about your business forward.
That's awesome. I know, and I love what you said because I think that this is something that gets lost and maybe even contradicted in the world of general branding and marketing advice, right? Because
Yeah.
when you talk about marketing and branding and positioning and target markets, a lot of times when high level advice is given, it's like, well, you got to listen to the audience. You got to ask the audience what they want. You got to do
Yeah.
market research and figure it out and then create something to meet them. Okay, yes, for some kinds of businesses and some kinds of services, not for our kind of business and service
Right.
where they are hiring us. Our perspective, approach, strategic thinking, like where we come from and who we are all going to play into the kind of work that we do with someone because it is so personal.
Mhm.
It has to start with us. I love how you said that.
Yes,
That's great.
100%.
Yeah, and I think because marketing and branding advice is thrown around so generally as if it applies to different size businesses, different kinds of businesses in a similar way, I think it's very confusing and people kind of run with these, big generic ideas
Yeah,
improperly.
it's a lot of noise. And honestly, those methods could work if you're rooted in the right thing. If you have a foundation that's grounded in who you are and what you're bringing to the table, especially for service-based businesses. But if you're starting at that level, then you're trying to anchor in on an audience and you're just trying to fit what other people want you to be. And that's burnout. That's a recipe for burnout, quick
Yes.
burnout.
Yes, absolutely. And I just realized we do a form of market research. That form of market research is working with clients, right? It's like we
Mm-hmm.
don't base our niche on a hypothesis. We base our
Yeah.
niche, especially because people come in sometimes where they really haven't had that many clients yet. And I go
Mm-hmm.
tell them, like, it's not time to pick a niche. You got to go work with people first
Mm-hmm.
so that you have some data points. I've worked with these people and gotten good results and enjoyed it, and I'm really good at it. Okay, great. That's the market research we want. We don't want to ask
Yeah.
people. We want to actually do it so we can validate it in the market. Um,
Yeah.
but it's a little different than just asking.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's experiencing it and then really using your skill set to identify what those needs are, and then based on your audience. But yeah, it's a piece that goes missing a lot. And a lot of people who are anxious to make money, they get caught up in these, increase your revenue, get more sales, and they jump into this thing, okay, they have money, I'm going to go target them. And then, it's like at some point that can fizzle out so quick, and then you lose your commitment to it, and you wonder why. It's because, well, it really wasn't rooted in what I really want to be doing. And are those even the people I really connect with?
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? But you'll learn one way or another and eventually get back to the point where you're like, okay, let's figure out how this really works.
Right. Or going after a market that you think has money and they don't have an interest in hiring you because they have no
Yeah.
reason to hire you at this moment because you have no experience in that market or no
Yeah.
track record or, right? I've seen that quite a bit too. There's a PSA for our listeners. If you've never worked with a big company before and you think that you're going to go after them and get your first client because they have money, you're sorely mistaken.
Yeah, that's a
There's
whew.
there's way too many competitors out there who have worked with that market a lot
Yeah.
and have a lot of
Yeah.
credibility in it that should get the job over you. That's not to knock you. It's just that you have to start with actually, being the right fit for your market.
Yeah.
Anyway, I digress. You brought up money. Let's talk about it. How has your business transformed in terms of your relationship to money and how you
Oh,
feel
yeah.
about it?
Oh my gosh, it's been a huge shift. I mean, I came in with the whole scarcity mindset, a lot of fears I was just trying to overcome, and, always wondering what it felt like to get into that abundance type of mindset and feeling. And through the money workshops and, filling out the HQ, really looking at the numbers in a whole new way. I mean, it's totally transformed how I feel about money and how I look at money. And my business doubled last year, and I'm forecasted to double again this year.
Oh
And
my
I
God.
am working less with more quality and actually attracting people who are ready to invest. I mean, they get on the phone and they have already decided that they want to work with me and they're prepared to go all in. And that is a total game changer. And I really do believe it's because I was able to redirect my energy to focus on the right things instead of focusing on, okay, how do I make enough money, this month and next month? And now I'm focused on just looking at the quality of projects that I have and how do I improve each one of those and refining my processes so that I can continue to evolve with, the different shifts, like, adding in AI and all those cool things so I can continue to bring more value to my clients. And that in itself has created more value and attracted more valuable clients who are ready for those things. So,
That is
yeah.
so cool. Oh my gosh, double and on track to double again. And we're in the first quarter of the year, so that's
Yeah.
amazing. I,
Yeah.
I just realized when this goes up, it might be later in the year, but we're
Yeah.
at the end of February. So that's
Yeah.
incredible. Congratulations.
Thank
How
you.
has that affected your like non-business life?
Oh my gosh, incredibly. I have a 7-year-old and a very amazing husband, and
You married him
we
finally.
I did. We did finally get married because I said, I choose you. I'm going to become a consultant.
When you have
Start the entrepreneur journey.
that's
And thank
awesome.
goodness for his unconditional support. Oh my gosh, he always believed in me when I definitely didn't believe in myself several times. But, one of the big things was being able to be a part of my son's life, but not give up what I love to do. And you also helped me find that balance. and the confidence to know that exists. And you showed me a framework that allows for both. So I can continue to do both, be a great mom, be a great wife, work from home, get out every once in a while. But yeah, financially, we're more secure in being able to do more things together and actually take mini vacations eventually, or working our way up to bigger ones. But I mean, it's allowed me to take back so much time and energy. It's just completely increased my capacity to balance both, to be able to purely focus on one client at a time and then purely focus on my family on those other hours of the day. I mean, it's a whole shift in energy and focus and capacity. It's amazing.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. And my son is about to turn 7 too. So we are
Yeah.
living parallel lives, and that age is just so important. Like I would
So
be
important.
so sad if I wasn't able to be around for it because oh my gosh, it's going by so fast. I'm gonna cry.
So fast.
So
So
fast. And they're
fast.
so cute right now.
They are. They are so adorable and
So
so
cute.
precious. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, and I know that, I mean, I don't know if you find this, but like I feel like everybody in our community is all about that. Like everyone's like, yes, the
Yeah.
money, but like now I have more time with my kids. Like
Yeah.
my partner.
Yeah, that's the other amazing thing about the community and being able to hear people share their wins. Like a win could be, I had dinner with my family every night this week. Like those other wins, like I got to go on a field trip with my kid. Like I got to go skiing with them or whatever. Like I see all kinds of cool stories from, moms and dads that are in the group that are doing things with their families, or they're going on walks with their husbands. It's like that's so cool because that's the balance. It's, ebbs and flows on all sides, but being able to actually prioritize and have those moments in addition to feeling super, productive and have a rewarding career, like that's the dream, right? It's like figuring that out. And it's a lot of it was just letting go of these old school structural expectations that had us trapped in this old framework that didn't serve our like personal lives, which is
Totally.
crazy. So
Totally. And we were just talking about this on Monday because I was reminding people like it's important to celebrate your wins because
yeah.
it resets your mindset. You have to do it or else you're only going to focus on lack and that's going to create
Yeah.
a scarcity mindset.
Yeah.
And somebody realized or they shared, that something had happened in their family and so they were kind of out of work for a couple of weeks because there was a death in the family and then they went on vacation. They were like, "So I'm getting back on it." And I was like, I know it doesn't sound like a win, but the win is that you were able to be out of the
Yeah.
office to take care of this thing. Maybe it's not a positive thing, but it still
Yeah.
needed your attention and time. And
Yeah.
and then you were able to go on vacation and maybe you weren't working that whole time and everything's still okay. Like
Yeah.
what a win. Right?
Yeah, like imagine if you're fighting with your boss about
Oh my
taking time
gosh.
off and dealing with the guilt. Like I reflect on that every once in a while. I'm like, oh my God, my son is sick. I don't have to tell anybody about it. I don't need anyone's permission. I am going to just clear my schedule. It's like this whole new, like we have to give ourselves permission, which is a crazy thing. Like when you really get to this point, you're like, that's so dumb that I had to like tell myself. But it's because of the structures that we're all domesticated into earlier on in our careers. And so, yeah, that is a win to be able to deal with like those things that come up in life. I mean, I think you remember when I first started, my husband lost both his parents in a 2-year period. It was so heavy and hard. And so
Yeah.
I was trying to rebuild and launch this in the midst of taking care of that and supporting my husband through that crisis. But I was able to make time and space for that, and I still got to where I am now. So,
Good.
thank you for
Yeah.
literally giving us this, guiding us down a path that allows us to have our life, which is what living is all about, and do something meaningful with our skills and help other people. It's really everything I've ever wanted.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. And yeah, that's so important that we can be there for our people when they need us.
Yeah.
And you're right. Sometimes, like I remember, and I've worked so hard on this and I still feel pangs of it, right?
Mhm.
Son is sick and you stay home because we are habituated to be like, "Oh, well, I'm
Yeah.
taking off from work," which
Yeah.
is crazy because
Yes.
We literally have no boss and no hours that we're supposed to work.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people probably listening know what that feels like. It's 10
Mhm.
o'clock on a Tuesday, so I should be working. There's absolutely no reason why you should be working at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday. You
Right,
can, but,
right.
but
You
it's
get
not.
to
Yeah.
decide, like, when you put the time in and when you get to enjoy. Like, one of my goals was just to be able to sit for 30 minutes in the morning, eat my breakfast, and drink my coffee guilt-free. As simple as that was, and I finally like, that's peace. Like, that is like, to make the mornings not hectic, because for years it was, like, just chaos, just,
Me
"Oh my
too.
god, get
Get
as close,
there
get this, get
as
it, okay,
quickly as possible.
and go,
Yeah.
and get back, and as soon as I get back, I gotta run to my office and jump back online." It's just like,
Right.
why am I starting my day, like,
Frazzled.
crazy?
Yeah.
So, yeah, now it's the 5-minute journaling exercise you taught me, it's some meditation and journaling, and then that downtime where I get to, like, allow myself to just rest and be prepared. So when I start work, I'm in a good headspace. Like,
Mm.
I'm clear-minded and I know what I'm gonna focus on that day. And that makes such a huge difference.
It changes the way you experience it and it also changes the quality
Yeah.
of your work.
Yeah. I
Right.
can enjoy it too. I start off like excited, like, okay, what am I diving into today? Who am I helping? What
Yeah.
problems am I solving?
That's awesome. And I find it really helpful that we're also having this conversation in the community constantly. A couple weeks ago, I forget, somebody brought up the idea, we were talking about this topic of flexible Fridays, and then like
Oh
three other
yeah.
people were like, I did flexible Friday because you said that and it was amazing. So it's like being around other people who are normalizing
Yeah.
like this different approach, this different mindset. It's important because you kind of have to see it over and over again. And if you're
Mhm.
not around other people who are actively implementing and changing their mindset into this, and you're probably then surrounded by people who are in that more employee mindset. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
there's fixed times, like you gotta do your stuff. It's gotta be on a timeline, blah, blah, blah. Like it's very hard to break out of that mindset if you don't have anybody
Yeah.
else around you also doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's huge. So my husband's a senior software engineer and
Okay.
he's very much in a black and white work environment and
Right.
he's been with the same company for 17 years. So this community has also given me just a whole bunch of people that can relate to what I'm going through because he can't relate. He supports me unconditionally, but he can't even fathom like what we go through as entrepreneurs and how we schedule all the things. Like he has a totally different, very rigid schedule and it's just totally different. So, yeah, it is so nice to have that extra validation from the community celebrating those things and because it does help influence like okay yeah it's okay I can do this and I can still be successful if I have flex Fridays.
Yeah, my business isn't going to implode.
Yeah, yeah, imagine if I just scheduled around that. And yeah, that was another big thing I did this year was I actually mapped out, thanks to your calendar, the stack and what is it called?
Chunk
Stack
and
and
stack.
chunk and stack in a schedule. So I had like my days where I'll do LPs and the days where I'll focus on brands. So as these clients are like coming in, I'm able to like schedule them out in a way that still gives me freedom because before I would just be throwing them on the calendar and then realize, oh my God, I have no free time. If one ball drops, I'm screwed because it would be a ripple effect. Like if my son got sick, like then all the projects following that, it's like a ripple effect. But I built in padding and gave myself that time and space to continue this lifestyle and still get the work done.
I love that you really did that because sometimes, it's quite a shift.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen people struggle with this. Was there any sort of like tension around that? Because just for everyone listening, chunk and stack basically means you put your projects in the calendar with space in between them that you don't schedule clients in. And
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
very hard for people to do that for some reason. Did you have any sort of
Well,
transitional period?
absolutely. Like, I mean, I spent all of last year struggling with it. And it wasn't until this year that I was like, okay, I learned from experience how quickly it would backfire. And because I would try to do in different things, and then I would be like, nope, I got time, I'm just gonna squeeze it in. Like, no, I gotta stop doing that. And so also, I also realized from working with my clients that and maybe it's who I attract, but
Mhm.
they are the most understanding, amazing people. And as long as I keep in communication with them, things can adjust. So that also gave me permission to spread the timelines out, because I also look back, I'm like, they didn't say they needed it, in a really short period of time. They didn't have an expectation on time. And so once I realized that, I was just like, okay, I can set the expectation for this myself and get their feedback up front, and then peacefully go after it from there. Like, instead of like having all these ideas in my head about what they might be expecting, like, I can confirm all that up front and, run the ideas by them so they know up front like what to expect. And imagine that. I mean, it's so simple, but I spent so much time anticipating and like imagining what they're thinking. I'm like, why am I doing that? I have no idea. So it took a few times, confirming that I was making all that up in my head. Like, they weren't stressed about it. The perfectionist in me, wanted to stick to a specific schedule and do the things when I could have given myself more time, which then benefited everyone because it was better quality work, and they were still happy, even more happy because it turned out even better.
I love that. And I think if our listeners are like really picking up what you're putting down, because these are stories that everyone listening has, and you are not aware of the stories. Um,
Yeah,
like, I
yeah,
think that's like a big piece of it is
it
that
is.
obviously you can be like, oh, like those are just stories, leave them behind. But if you're not aware of what the stories are, you can't
Yeah,
leave them behind. But
yeah.
we're dictating a lot of what we do based on these stories that we
Oh,
don't even know we
yeah.
have.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. I've seen this specific conversation happen several times where you've given advice to the group, and I'm guilty of it too. Is like putting on the LP like how many hours we spend on each thing, and like really kind of like putting a box around ourselves and making it so rigid. Like taking a step back and like, who is that for? The end goal is the goal. So how we get there, we're the experts. We get to manage our time in the best way possible, and our clients need to trust us to do that. So we don't have to explain how we manage every second of our time to them. They don't even want to know. They just want to know that they're going to get what they need in the end. That's what's important. So that's a conversation process that I went through, and I see a lot of other community members going through the same thing, like thinking they have to like verbatim explain every single thing to build that trust. But you can actually take a step back and realize, who is that really for? Because I think you're really just trying to convince yourself, and then what does the client really need to know and hear about to feel good about their choice and how the project's going to end out.
Well, and that can backfire too, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I think a lot of times we have stories that clients need certain kinds of information. Yeah, like about how much time you're spending on something.
Yeah.
That's talk about employee mentality. That's straight
Yeah.
from being an employee.
Yeah.
My employer wants to know that I'm working in the hours that I'm being paid for. Now,
Yeah.
translating that to our clients,
Yeah.
actually giving them that information is probably overwhelming them, giving them too much
Yeah.
information and making them think about the hours when that's
Yeah,
really
yeah,
irrelevant.
we're training them to think and go backwards. I mean, we just broke out of that because
Yeah.
we're delivering a full value package versus we're not it's not a one-to-one for the hours
No.
per dollar.
No, and they're
This is
not our employers. Like
and they're not our
we're
employers.
actually
Yeah.
communicating with them that we're employees if we're focusing on employee type of information. We have to
Absolutely.
completely change the conversation in order to
Yeah.
develop a different kind of relationship with them. And that's our responsibility. It's not their
Yeah.
responsibility
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's that accountability that we think that we need to include in that relationship is that, no, we hold ourselves accountable when we communicate the important things. We don't need to like teach them how to hold us accountable.
No, no. Okay, so I just have a couple more questions. First of all, you had a really exciting month last
Yeah.
month. What happened?
Yes. Oh my gosh. So, I mean, the year started out fast. I had 5 projects lined up. I've got 3 in process right now, and a few are gonna be coming up after that, and I got invited to speak at a few different places, and it's just it's all happening. It's like the word is out there and people are coming to me for the right things, and so I feel like all the work I put in last year in building my foundation and getting clear on what it is that I want to offer and who I want to help. I mean, it's really working. So now it's coming in and I'm like, okay, this is right. That's why I had to book out the schedule to like make time slots. And I actually there was a point where I was like, do I need to hire? I'm like, no, no, I don't need to hire. That's why I came in here. I can scale without hiring employees. And, nothing against teams that have employees and teams that whatnot. My thing is just that I can do it on my own and I can provide what my clients need. And I have a track record of that. So I don't need to hire. I can just push them out a little bit. And turns out they're all okay with that. So
Yeah.
imagine that.
Imagine that. And there's no right way, people who hire or bring contractors in, like we've got lots of people in here who do that as well, but I think it depends on like how you want to spend your time and what you're looking for. And, what I'm hearing you say is like that flexibility of less overhead and having control over it too, right?
Yeah.
Although I'm maybe
Yeah.
projecting, I felt the same way. I was like,
Yeah.
yes, I can hire for certain things, but I will then have to put some of that time into managing that person,
Yeah.
and I won't have complete control over the outcome. And for me, like, I want this to be what I want it to be.
a
They're
hundred
paying me a
percent.
lot of money. Like, I want it to
Yeah.
be exactly what I want it to be.
Yeah, yeah, that's 100% what it is for me. It's like I want to give them that ultimate attention, quality, and sure, I could train somebody up to speed, but I don't want to invest that time right now.
Yeah, and then
Or ever, maybe,
it
I don't
actually
know.
does keep it more, it's the most flexible when it's only
Yeah,
you, because
yeah,
then you really don't have anyone else to answer to or
yeah,
communicate with. You just do the projects and then you take your vacations. I mean, you
yeah,
just don't,
yeah,
yeah, you don't have to in
yeah,
between, or you work on your authority, which I'm so glad you're doing and you're doing such a good
yes.
job of. Okay, last question. I'm curious, like, for somebody who is potentially going to come or thinking about joining us, what
Mhm.
would you say to somebody who is on the fence? And if they said they were going to join, like, what would be the one piece of advice you would give them for starting?
Oh gosh. Well, I think this goes back to, being all in. It's like you really think about what you want to accomplish with your business and commit to it because this is the path that's going to help you streamline your business, work more effectively, and be able to celebrate that reward of delivering amazing work and making more money and creating the time and freedom that you want. So, if that's not what you want, then this isn't for you. But if that's part of your vision and goal for your business, then I say just go for it. Commit, go all in, and it will work. If you do the work and you follow the path, I mean, there's a huge community of people who are proof that it works. And the ultimate proof is you, Pia. Like, you've done it. You went through it. Your story was so impactful too. The fact that you started where you did, knowing that the journey you took to get here tells me how important this is to you. And that's what really got me on board.
Really?
And yeah, that's huge because, I want to learn from people who have done it before, but not just because they make a lot of money and they're successful, but because you share so much. You share so much about the journey and the tools you've created to help guide us, really help fill every gap. I mean, your framework touches all the pieces. It's amazing. So anybody out there who is wondering if they should do this, like just decide, do you want to be successful and not hire employees and hit 30K months? Because I'm about to hit 30K this month. I have a few more days, but I'm pretty sure, if not, I'm super close and it feels really good. So come join us because we're all here to support each other. And it's the best decision I've made for my career. I wish you existed 10 years ago.
I was figuring this out 10 years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
I was in the depths of figuring this out myself. That's amazing. KyAlea, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for being so open and vulnerable and sharing your story and all of your wins. I am just beaming with pride and excitement for you and just all the things. You're a really great example of like embracing a strategy and taking the action, which is so important. It doesn't work if you don't take the action.
You don't do it,
You
yeah.
kind of dip your toe in, and I'm just so happy for you. Where can people find out more about you? And I know you've got a great freebie, and you should show it off.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to say real quick, thank you so much for inviting me here. It's such an honor, and to have your feedback, is amazing. So thank you for recognizing how hard I've worked and celebrating with me. I appreciate that so much. Okay, so if you go to hoku.design, you can read all about the brand DNA blueprint and the master brand framework that I'm putting together. And I've got two quizzes right now that are super helpful. One is the brand DNA clarity quiz, which helps you figure out how clear you are on your approach and if where you're kind of rooting it. Because, like I said, our conversation about, are we chasing audiences? Are we chasing trends? Or is this really rooted in what we want to bring to market? So that first clarity quiz is really cool because it kind of dives into that and it'll kind of figure out where you're at. And then another one that I'm actually about to launch this week, she'll be ready when this
So it
goes
will be
live.
ready, yeah.
Yes, dives into it, really asks the question, is your framework ready to scale revenue without hiring? Because my clients are all, 1 to 2 founders, just, service-based founders who also just really they want to scale, but they don't want to grow a big team. So similar to the path we've all been on, this quiz helps identify how ready you are and how solid of a framework, if you even have a framework in place. Because most of my clients tend to come to me and they've got, all these different seeds planted. They have all these different things. They're feeding all these different efforts, like this product and this service and this, and none of them are connected. So bring it all together. So that quiz will help you kind of figure out like how close are you to having a framework that's going to allow you to scale your revenue without hiring? Because you should definitely do that first before you decide to hire employees.
100%. Okay, I love that. And if they just go to the homepage, those two will be there.
Yes, they will be
Okay,
there.
amazing.
Yeah.
We'll link it in the show notes. KyAlea, thank you so much again for joining
Thank
me.
you.
And to your continued success.
Thank you so much.
I am so excited for KyAlea and everything she's accomplished so far. And truly, this is just the beginning of the next part of her journey. If her story resonated with you, if you want some of that freedom and excitement and inspiration in your business back, go to nobsagencies.com/program. Watch the video on that screen, book a call with our team, and let's see if this is the right time for you to jump in. Get all of that juicy support from our community, and of course, learn the strategies from our trainings that show you how to build a no BS agency that can get you to those higher paying clients with less work. nobsagencies.com/program. That's all I've got for you today. I will see you next week.